to be proposed by Assembly Member Johnson.
Yes, thank you, Chair. I can't remember how many times during the previous mayor that I stood up to complain about the amount of money that was spent on preparing for road crossings in the previous administration. This sadly continues that theme. £11 million has already been spent. Another £12 million earmarked for the preparation costs, and a total figure of £28 billion for increasing road capacity in London over the coming decades. At a time when we've got a growing population, where we need to think smart about how we get people around in London, simply building more roads will not be the answer. We need to think much smarter on this. So this motion is calling for that money to be reallocated for work on public transport, cycling and walking. That is the obvious way forward, not building more roads and creating yet more traffic.
Assembly Member Jones to second.
Formally, thank you.
Assembly Member Biggs.
Thank you, Chair. I must say I'm very disappointed that Darren didn't talk to us about the solar panel initiative. I'm aggrieved about that, because we could well have supported it if we'd known what it was. It does have some merit, and we have a feeling actually that the Mayor's going to do it anyway, so it's sort of a bit opportunistic to ask him to do something that we might have an inkling he's going to do anyway. But taking forward, so this is not about river crossings, I appreciate, but taking forward solar power in London is an important initiative, of course. But on river crossings, it's interesting that this is something which we have discussed at great length in the past for many years now, and I put it both as a Labour representative, but also as a constituency representative for people in the East End of London. It's simply inequitable that those people who need to travel by road vehicle in East London and need to cross the Thames have so limited opportunities to do so. It's a separate question of whether, by doing so, they cause problems in terms of pollution or congestion. And what I think it's not beyond the bounds of possibility, through tolling, through proper traffic calming, through management of the services in London, through excellent public transport, that we will achieve both the opportunity when people need it to travel, but also the improved environment that flows from other measures. I'm not an environmentalist in the sense that the Green Party are, in that I do believe that technology and innovation and ideas can help to improve the quality of the environment without us throttling people's ability to do things which are not so unequivocally antisocial that they should not be allowed to continue doing them. And I don't drive a car. I used to drive a car. I don't drive a car. I rarely need to drive a car. But when I do need to drive one, I sometimes need to cross the River Thames, and the lack of opportunities is a problem, as it is for my constituents. A whole number of people in this room down the years have been involved in discussion about this, and we've built 7 rail crossings, which have massively improved public transport capacity across the Thames. We built this superb cable car, which of course we've all supported, he said ironically, but it does provide some public transport capacity across the Thames. We've supported the fast ferries as well, the Clipper service, which helps to get people across the Thames, amongst other things. And we do need some road capacity. I'd make a plea, a very local plea for the people I represent in South Poplar, which is that if we don't provide other road capacity across the Thames and East London, we will continue to provide for the people in South Poplar the unique opportunity to congest the lungs of their old people, their young people and everyone else, and to contribute massively disproportionately towards the loss of life and the shortened life expectancy of people in that part of London as a result of the pollution. That's a very, very, very serious issue. And if you are a genuine environmentalist, you would recognise that either we need to demolish all the housing and evacuate the Poplar area, or we need to carry out environmental measures which improve the quality of life and physical environment in that part of London. And I think this is a fault line that I have. I consider myself to be, in some ways, an environmentalist, but there's something that worries me about the Green Party politics, which is that it can be very intolerant of individual decisions which fly against the doctrine. Now, I'm a Labour guy, and I don't like some things that Tories stand for, but I recognise we're in a democracy where we have to win arguments, where people have different choices in their lives. And I guess I don't like the intolerance that lies behind this, so that's a personal plea. But from a Labour point of view, we don't support this motion. We think we should make progress with proper safeguards to provide road capacity across the Thames in East London, both to help people in East London, to help the environment in parts of East London, to help the economy in parts of East London, to help provide capacity for housing development in East London. We want to do it in a way that reassures the good people of Bexley, for example, who have objected to river crossings in some forms. We need to design proposals which will work. There are proposals which can work, and not least, which will massively enhance the bus networks in South East London as well, so that people can cross the Thames on buses and public transport with low-emission vehicles, not having to hop on and off rail lines and rail hub between them. By providing the opportunities for a transport network in the east and southeast of London, we will help to improve the quality of lives for people. We've got a responsibility to do this, but to do it making sure that we do support and enhance their quality of lives, not to refuse to let them have those opportunities. And I think that's a fundamental disagreement that I certainly have, and I think my group has, with the Greens on this point.
Assembly Member Pigeon.
Thank you. We'll be supporting this motion today. Absolutely agree with the Greens that proposals for additional road crossings in this part of London will only increase traffic levels and pollution, and I don't think that's good for any of the communities in that area. I'm very supportive of a proposal to develop pedestrian and cycle crossings, particularly the Brunel Bridge idea that has been developing recently, and I've been working on with Sustrans and the local MP Simon Hughes to push the link from Rotherhithe over to Canary Wharf. That would only cost probably around £60 million. We already know the Mayor's managed to get £60 million for his garden bridge, and that may not even be seen as a transport project at all, but rather one of these vanity projects. I think it's really important to reallocate this money that's being spent on some of these proposed river crossings to actually invest in river crossings that are sustainable and ones that the communities in these areas really want and that won't lead to an increase in traffic levels.
Assembly Member Bacon.
Thank you, Chairman. We won't be supporting this either. Mr Biggs talked about the people of Bexley being against river crossings. Actually, we're against the wrong crossing in the wrong location, and always have been. We're not against river crossings per se to the east of London. It is, of course, it's self-evidently iniquitous that there are so many crossings that way and almost none that way. And it clearly is. River crossings clearly are a major contributor to regeneration if they're done the right crossing in the right location with the right mitigation. If you get any of that wrong, then you do get what Darren Johnson has referred to at the beginning here, which is gridlock, pollution, and massive environmental damage. So, per se, we're not against river crossings, but they have to be the right ones in the right location with the right mitigation. So we will be voting against this motion today. Thank you.
Assembly Member Boff.
Don't want to go on what Gareth Bacon basically said, but, you know, it's actually outlined in my position was actually outlined by John Biggs, who went on about how you can't really suppress individual aspiration. This is a very socialist motion, so I don't expect the Labour Party to vote for it. It's all about public transport rather than private transport. And it does actually remind me, I just realised why their budget was white now, because it's a flag of surrender. John Biggs has shown us they've given up, and they've realised that in those culture wars the Tories won, and individual freedom is what we're all about. Another reason why we can't support, even though we can't support this motion, I just wanted to flag up as we're using this opportunity. When the Silvertown Tunnel does go in, we must not forget the air quality issues that there are around Royal Docks and around the Isle of Dogs. Royal Docks itself and Beckton and places like that already suffer from the air quality with regard to the city airport and the roads that are there, and we should not see a situation where the tunnel actually makes that worse. And I very much hope to see the rest of the Assembly supporting the issue that I've taken up, which is there needs to be an air quality review in the wards surrounding the entrances to the proposed tunnel. But I did want to flag that up because I don't think we can just reject this motion, as it looks likely we're going to do it, without saying that we have to, we must have reservations about these tunnels and about the issues that there will be for the people who are going to live around them. Thank you.
Assembly Member Jones, you reserved your right.
No, thank you.
Assembly Member Johnson to sum up.
Thank you, Chair. Well, thank you to the Liberal Democrat group for their support for this motion. In terms of the point that John Biggs made, about the need for increased capacity. Well, even TfL's own projections show that there would be a very significant increase in traffic if these new road crossings went ahead. The solution is then to introduce tolling to try and put people off using what has just been built, which seems a bit of a silly way to go about it. Why not simply introduce tolling on the existing crossings and help reduce traffic that way, rather than build something new and then trying to find ways to stop people using it? It doesn't seem to make sense. And as for the point that Caroline Pidgeon made about the need to look at other alternatives, that's absolutely essential. Not only fixed crossings for cyclists and so on. The Sustrans Bridge is a really, really good proposal. But I've visited the Netherlands and places where you get smart ferries for cyclists and pedestrians, where we're having large population increases in East London to link up East London to South East London. They could be a really important way forward, as they are in places like the Netherlands, to bring communities together without increasing traffic one iota. So there are imaginative ways forward, and I think both mayors have just seemed wedded to an old-fashioned predict and provide approach to road building in East London, and it's not the way to deal with a large increase in population. So I do urge people to vote for this motion.
I shall now take a vote on the motion in the name of Assembly Members Johnson and Jones. Those in favour, please show. Those against, please show. And that motion falls. 21.